The Rifleman. Starring Chuck Connors.
Next. Charlie.
Mr. Gangley.
20, 10, $30, Charlie.
Thank you, Mr. Ganlon. Thank you.
Now, you men figure out how to spend the money in your own time. I get back to work.
Get right back, Mr. Ganlon. Yes, sir. Oh. Hello, Mr. Gangling. I'm just putting my pay away.
You're taking quite a chance carrying that money belt around, aren't you, Charlie?
Seen too many banks close their doors, Mr. Gangling.
They say you still have the first dollar you ever earned. Charlie, I'm curious if that's true.
That's just my farm money, Mr. Gangling. Find some land to ease my head, put some roots down. Ain't it up there to interest a big man like you, Mr. Gangling?
Bigness is relative, Charlie. The ant gazing at a sand pile. To him, that's a mountain. Right now, that's me, Charlie. I'm looking at a mountain.
That's my farm money you're holding, Mr. Gangling.
I've got a proposition, Charlie. 1 month is all I need. I'll fatten this by 10%.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Gangling, but whatever it is, I ain't interested.
I'm in a jam, Charlie. I need this money badly. All right. I just thought I'd ask.
Charlie, I come to pay the money I owe you.
I didn't do it, Mr. Gangley.
Sure, coming along.
Another couple of weeks, they'll be inside the county line.
Well, I guess we'll be considered officially civilized, huh? Morning, Mr. Gangley.
Morning.
This is Marshal Torrance of North Fork.
Marshal. Mr. Gangling.
A cook will only need 2 beefs this coming week. I laid off some men.
I'll have him here Friday.
Good. Something on your mind, Marshal?
Yes, I'm here about that trouble you had this morning.
Yes. My vigilantes are still out trying to track down the Indian.
I happen to know John Wing very well. He used to do some farm work for Lucas here. You never had any trouble about him stealing, did you?
No, I didn't.
Or maybe you never saw anything valuable enough to steal before.
As I understand it, you caught the Indian going through the old man's money belt.
It's Charlie Breen. They tell me the old man worked hard every day of his life. Saved his money so that when the time came, he might retire without any worries.
You actually see Johnny Wing kill him, Mr. Gangley?
When I come upon an Indian standing over a dead man, who a few moments before I personally paid a full month's wages to, I simply add 2 + 2 and apply pressure to the trigger finger. Unfortunately, in this case, my aim was a bit off.
Mr. Gangling, I want you to rescind that shoot-on-sight order you gave your men.
This camp has its own legal authority, so don't you go telling me what to do, Marshal. I'm keeping that order because it's the only safe way to go after a thief and a murderer like Johnny Wing. With any kind of luck, we should be rolling him in his grave before nightfall.
What's bothering the Marshal and the rest of us is your men roaming around our territory with itchy trigger fingers.
And you'd feel different if it was your job to keep order among 200 men, knowing that among them are criminals of every stripe and nature. Quick justice is the only way to keep them in line. Keep down the kind of thing that happened here this morning.
Look, Mr. Gangley, we bring up our families in these parts. We teach them to respect law and order. What's happening here is little different from mob rule.
You exaggerate, Mr. McCain. If we happen to catch the Indian alive, he'll be given a fair and impartial trial, the same as he would in your town of North Fork.
Well. He's kind of leading us a chase, Mr. Ganglin, doubling back on his tracks. By the amount of blood he's leaving behind, I'd say sooner or later he's going to crawl off someplace and die all by himself.
Brother Davy's staying on his tracks. We come back for fresh horses.
You're Jeb and Vale Croton, aren't you? I'm Lucas McCain. We met a couple of years ago at the grain auction. Didn't know you boys were working as vigilantes.
The hills ain't been as lucky with the rain as the flatlands, mister.
All right, you got to change the horses, and better luck next time.
Gangley, who's the judge when your committee tries a man?
I
And
am.
your paid hands are the jury?
That's right.
Pretty convenient kind of law you got here.
I want it understood when you begin laying tracks in North Fork, your kind of law stops.
I never had any other thought, Marshal.
Well, I finally got it all figured out, Miss Lou.
What, your fresh egg business?
Yep. Instead of selling eggs first year, I'm gonna let them hatch.
Raise cooking hens instead?
Not for cooking. Chicken only brings 12 cents clean. That's work. But a chicken all by herself can lay 100 eggs a year. So I figure if I let them hatch instead of making money the first year, then I've got 100 times as many eggs the second.
That seems to make sense.
Boy sure is gonna be surprised to find a regular woman's meal when he gets here. Not that he objects to my cooking much.
Speaking of those eggs, it occurs to me if I had some right now, I could make a cake for dessert.
There's probably half a dozen in the roost.
Ah, that should be fine.
Of course, I can always squeeze a hen or two if you want some more.
You can do what?
Why, sure. It's an old farmer's trick. Just grab the hen by the legs, turn it upside down, then... I bet you used to do the same thing all the time back in Ireland.
I'm gonna turn you upside down, young man, if you don't stop joking and go get those eggs.
I need a horse, Mark.
I can't help you, Johnny. They're looking for you.
I didn't do it, Mark. I didn't.
Then why don't you give yourself up?
They'll kill me. It's the law of the camp. A thief is hanged within the hour.
Help!
Don't yell again.
It wouldn't be right for me to help you. But I could go get Marshal Torrance if you want me to.
Mark, I'm taking that horse, and you're saddling him for me.
If you weren't guilty, you'd give yourself up.
They'll kill me. They'll call me murdering, thieving Indian, and they'll kill me.
Get away from that boy! Johnny Wing!
He's sure bad, Miss Lou.
Go get some hot water and bandages, Mark.
Pa's riding up now. We're gonna have to tell him sooner or later, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello, Lou.
Lucas?
I thought that cooking I smelled was put together with a lighter touch than Mark's. No offense, son.
Oh, sure.
I dropped by to sign up as a regular customer for Mark's Eggs and thought I'd stay and help with dinner.
Oh, that's mighty kind of you, Lou. Something wrong, Mark?
No?
You sure?
Well, if you two will sit down, I'll serve dinner. What did you and Micah find out at the railroad camp?
Well, there's nothing we can do to stop the vigilantes from shooting Johnny Wing on sight.
You think he's guilty, Pa?
I don't know, son. I don't know him that well. But a man can seem one thing and be another.
Well, when he worked for me those few days at the hotel, he seemed to be honest. And if he wanted to steal, there was ample opportunity at that time.
Now, railroad camp is a rough place. You take a young man with the gambling and drinking that goes on, I guess it can lead to trouble.
But it's not right to hang him without a trial, Pa.
Oh, he'll get a trial, son, but it's not the kind you're used to. But a vigilante committee is accountable for its actions.
You mean Johnny Wing would have to be handed over to that Mr. Gangling, same as to a marshal?
That's the vigilante law, and it's a rightful one, I guess.
Pa, there's something I want to tell you.
McCain!
What are you doing here?
Mr. McCain, do you know the penalty for harboring a fugitive?
What are you talking about?
We found Johnny Wing hiding in your barn. You're facing law officers, Mr. McCain.
Mark, did you know Johnny Wing was in the barn?
That's what I was about to tell you, Pa.
It was my fault, Lucas.
Using a woman as an alibi may work on this side of the county line. Don't try it in my jurisdiction.
All right, Gangling.
There's your pay for the cattle you delivered. Don't bother delivering any more. Let's go.
They may call it vigilante law, but that boy hasn't got a chance.
I won't argue the point. The laws in these parts aren't perfect, but they've got to be accepted. Or else all the good laws will go down with the bad. Mark, write it and tell Micah what's happened here. I'm going to attend that trial. You tell him to meet me.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Lou.
The defendant's name was John Wing. He's a full-blooded Apache Indian. He's charged with the robbery and killing of Charlie Breen. The evidence against the man is that he was seen... Mr. McCain, come in. Come in. I didn't expect you to come back here again, ever.
I'm just asking this trial be delayed till Marshal Torrance gets here.
Our rules are immediate trial with sentence promptly carried out. Didn't I warn you that harboring a wanted killer was a hanging offense? That's correct, Mr. McCain. Verdict of guilty here could put you swinging at the end of a rope along with this Indian. The law of the camp. There's nothing I can do about it. The evidence, Charlie Breen's money belt. Seen in the defendant's hand when he dropped it and ran from the murder.
No.
About $100 still left. Out of an original 2,000 or more. Now, gentlemen, I'll be brief. Though even a few words would be a few too many, considering the fact the case is open and shut.
I like your idea of an impartial trial, Mr. Gangling. Since when does a judge make such a prejudicial statement?
Judge and prosecutor, Mr. McCain. The law of the camp is death within the hour for a thief. After the trial, of course, We're not savages here, at least not all of us. This law was forced upon us for our mutual protection. Every month, 200 men receive their pay in gold. The minute we lower the odds against swift and sure punishment, there isn't a man who could go to sleep at night without a gun by his head. Now, Wing, the facts are I came upon you kneeling over the dead body of Charlie Breen. Body's still warm. You don't deny that?
But that doesn't mean I killed him.
Then why did you run?
Because I saw you coming at me with a gun.
Well, if you hadn't done anything wrong, why were you afraid of my gun?
Because of the look in your eye.
Well, how would you have me look under the circumstances? The money belt in your hand, transferring the gold from the belt to your own pocket?
No, that's not true.
Suppose I said you wouldn't hang if you told us where you hid the money. I don't promise anything, mind you, I just ask.
I haven't any money. I didn't kill that old man.
If he does that again, shoot him. We try to run our trials as orderly as possible, Mr. McCain.
I can see that.
If Charlie Breen had been killed by somebody else, why was there still gold left in the money belt? If the killer hadn't been caught in the act, he certainly would have time to have transferred all the money to his own pockets. He was killed by somebody else, why didn't John Wing cry out when he found the body? When I walked up to him, pointing a gun at him, why didn't he simply raise his hands? The answers to these questions, gentlemen, are obvious. I close the case for the camp. Mr. McCain, you'll be given the opportunity to question John Wing in your own behalf, since the verdict will affect both of you.
Asking him any more questions would only make it worse for both of us.
Gentlemen, you've heard the evidence.
I would like to question another witness.
Unfortunately, the only other witness in the case lies buried in his grave at this moment.
Well, Mr. Gangling, I was referring to you.
Me?
You were there. It's an open and shut case. That's what you said.
Well, if you boys don't mind wasting the time, all right, make it short.
Mr. Gangling, you have a lot of Apaches working for you. Why?
Surely you wouldn't deny a man the right to work because of his color?
Let me put it another way. You make a point of hiring Apaches because they'll accept less money than white men?
That, Mr. McCain, is one of the fine points of economics. You hire labor as cheaply as possible. You pay the Apaches $10 a month.
Even though they do as much work as everybody else?
They're Indians. They don't require that much money to live on.
How much did you pay Charlie Breen?
$30 a month.
$30 a month. Then Indians get $10 a month, and white men get $30. Is that right?
One is an animal, the other a man.
One is an animal. Mr. Gangling, this spring, a lot of the hillmen came down from their farms, leaving behind starving families and failing crops. Now, many of them are working at various jobs here for you right now in this camp.
So?
What wages do you pay them? How much do you pay the hillmen, Mr. Gangling?
That's beside the point.
You don't care to answer.
$20 a month.
Animals, to use your expression, get $10 a month. White men get $30. Then you must think these hillmen are somewhere between an animal and a white man.
Those are your words, not mine.
What would your words be, Mr. Gangling? In what category would you put these hillmen? More animal than men? How much more?
What are you driving at, McCain? We're all under the thumb. The pressure never stops for any of us. Not for them, not for me, not for you. The thumb squeezes. The Apache works for a third, takes the money, or he starves in the desert. The thumb's squeezing. The hillmen work for less pay because there's no rain. Crops fail, the families starve. Thumb is squeezing, always squeezing. You, McCain, the thumb is squeezing on you to make that mortgage payment. Squeezing to call that loan, squeezing.
You included yourself under that thumb. What's your problem, Mr. Gangling?
I'm speaking in generalities, recalling the facts of life. We may not like them, but each of us is faced with these facts every day in our life. Are you finished?
Mr. Gangling, do you usually put teeth marks on gold coins you use for wages or payment for supplies?
Of course not.
No, I didn't think you did. That's a trick generally used by old-timers like Charlie Breen. They identify their money that way, just in case. Now, if you gentlemen will recall, Mr. Gangling tossed me these 3 gold coins in payment for some cattle I delivered. If you look at them closely, you'll see that they have the same teeth marks as these coins here on the table in Charlie Breen's money belt.
I often change gold for men in the camps. 2 $5 pieces for a 10. The explanation is simple enough.
Well, suppose, Mr. Gangling, we were to look for and find several $1,000s worth of gold marked the same as this gold in evidence here, would you then say that we'd found the gold that was taken from the body of Charlie Breen?
You're suggesting that you'd find a great number of gold pieces with Charlie's marks in my safe?
Well, I think your committee would like to know all the facts before passing judgment on both of us.
Now it's your turn to listen. Sit down, McCain. Sit down. Cover him. Big thumb, McCain. You feel it squeezing? Each of you are going to leave this room richer than before. That's gold, McCain. It seals lips, buys souls, buries people. What's in this bag is going to send them back to the hills, set for life. The big thumb. Suddenly they're part of the squeeze. Right now, you're all that lie between them and their big dream.
It might be true if they actually were the animals you think they are. But something does stand in the way, Gangling. You're talking to men who chose to work when they became desperate. Men who wouldn't steal, not even to feed their families.
This man is all that lies between you and the best land you can buy back in those hills. Land to grow food for your hungry children. Now shoot!
Only animals feed their young on the blood of others, Gangling. You keep forgetting you're talking to human beings.
I'll shoot, do you hear? Don't you understand it's yours? Yours. Gold enough so your wives and children can stop rooting in the ground for a mouthful of food.
Pigs root the ground, Gangling, not wives and children. Why do you keep forgetting you're talking to men?
You can become men. You can stop living like pigs. Like pigs, don't you understand? You can become men. You can live like men. Have you got the minds of animals? Have you lived like animals so long you've lost all feeling? You turned into animals?
According to the law, I'm voting John Gangling guilty of thieving and murder.
I understood him. Guess he just didn't understand us.
What made him think we'd take money to kill a man?
He understood money. Not men. What's the matter?
Oh, this is the third time in a row this Plymouth hasn't laid. Plus 2 others missed for the first time.
Are you sure they've been getting enough feed and water?
More than sure. If this keeps up, it's going to be a money-losing proposition, Pa. I don't mind saying I'm mighty worried.
I know. It's written all over your face.
But there's more to it than that, Pa. Last night when I was waiting for you to come home from that trial, all I could think about was that you would come home. Nothing else seemed important. I didn't care if these hens laid another egg or even if the house burned down.
And here you are this morning worrying about a few cents profit and loss.
Pa, I've been trying to tell myself I've got so much to be thankful for, but...
I know I have.
Thank you.